Welcome, ladies. This is Rakoczy, founder of Homemade Method, and I am so excited to be coming to you live, finally, for our live anti-inflammatory cooking demo. So this is for you if you've been struggling with fatigue, achy joints, low-grade fever, and chronic inflammation in your body. Conditions as well, such as autoimmune conditions like lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, fibromyalgia we'll talk about especially, obviously rheumatoid arthritis, but also things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, so many things, even weight gain and lethargy are all affected by inflammation in your body. So I'm very, very excited to show you today some quick, easy recipes you can make to reduce inflammation in your body using ingredients that you probably already have at home. So, as always, I love to make these workshops super interactive. So, don't be a stranger. Write in the chat. I'm going to be watching as you type in. So, I've got my laptop set up here. We're doing full multitasking today. I'm going to be chatting with you on the laptop, and I'm also going to be running through a Inflammation 101 mini lecture, and I'm also going to be teaching you how to cook 3 delicious dishes. So, if you're joining me live, welcome. My name is Rakoczy. I'm the founder of Homemade Method. I've got master's degrees from Stanford and UC Berkeley, and I've already helped over 85,000 ladies with my simple system, ladies in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, to lose tens of thousands of pounds, reverse diabetes, reverse high blood sugars, high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, and get off medications without dieting with this new way of cooking and eating. So if you're joining me today, welcome. I'm so glad you made it, and I would love to know who's on. So I want to invite you, first of all, if you're one of my current life-changing cooking program members or a success member, write member or success in the chat. Success is our graduate continuing support program for our program graduates. And if you're new to our community or you're new to Homemade Method, then just write new or community in the chat and your name and where you're calling in from. So let me see who's with us today. We have got, if it'll show me, I see Debbie, welcome, so glad you made it. I see Kelly, yay, I'm glad you found it too. Christine made it, fantastic. Lisa, Patty Norford, we've got Carol is watching, Audrey is on, fantastic. Cynthia, Patricia, Mary, so nice to see you. And to those inquiring about me feeling better, yes, after a visit to the doctor, a visit to the ER, 3 visits to the ear, nose, throat specialist, and 3 rounds of antibiotics, I am finally much, much better today. So I'm so glad, after we had to reschedule last week, I'm so glad I was able to do this for you today. So welcome, Susan, Linda Davis, so lovely to see you. Darlene is here as well, Angel here as well, Jean here as well, Michelle, Vonda. I see a lot of my members are on, Debbie, Diane and Debbie. Members, if you're a member, just write in where you're calling in from, if you're a life-changing cooking program member or a success member, and if you're new to the community as well, or you're new to Homemade Method, just write new or newbie so I know who's on, and I love to make this super interactive and relevant to you. Kathleen, I'm so excited as well. Welcome, Michelle, Julia, lovely to see you. Yvonne, checking in from the UK from bed. Good for you, Yvonne. You may not make it the whole way, but good for you for being here. Hi, Kim. Angel, so lovely that you made it too. Kathy and Deborah, lots of familiar names there. Wonderful. Gail, Patricia, success member. Angel is a success member. Debbie's a current program member. Darlene, success member. Rochelle is on. Christine is success. Alison, success. Debbie completed the course. Of course, I remember you. Jean, Gail is here. All right, ladies. So let us dive in. As you know, we're going to be cooking today a salmon with lemon butter sauce over steamed greens with a cauliflower mash. I declared cauliflower the vegetable of 2018. So maybe there'll be a new vegetable for this year, but let's do cauliflower because that's the thing that's everyone's loving at the moment. Then we'll do tropical Oasis mango smoothie, and then we'll do a chocolate chia seed pudding. So these are all things you can prepare pretty much in under 10 minutes. I'm going to be doing them with you live today. I'm going to show you how to prep them, how to make it even easier than the easy, fast recipes we gave you. I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot common mistakes. And I'm going to talk about why these particular dishes and why these particular ingredients that you already have at home are incredible at fighting inflammation in your body, They can protect your body against cancers. They can help reverse diabetes. They promote healthy weight loss. They promote healthy blood pressure. They protect your heart. They protect you against the risks of stroke. They're protective of your brain as you age, and they can bring down high blood cholesterol. So if you're watching and you're a lady in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, I'm guessing you probably are looking for all of the above, or at least half of the above. So remember, if you're joining us, type in your name, where you're calling from, if you're a life-changing cooking program member, a success member, or a newbie to our community. I am Anna Rakoczy, founder of Homemade Method. I've got master's degrees from Stanford and UC Berkeley, and I've already helped over 85,000 ladies in their 50s, 60s, and 70s with this system. So I'm very excited to share it with you today. So this event is for you if you're struggling with things like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, colitis, lupus. I'm going to say a special word about fibromyalgia. A lot of my members have found immense relief with fibromyalgia symptoms from the principles I'll share with you today. If you want to lower your risks of heart disease and strokes, if you want to lose weight but you're finding it difficult to shift the pounds after menopause or going into perimenopause, if you want to lower your insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, reverse type 2 diabetes and A1C, and basically inflammation affects all of the above, and that's why this workshop is so important. So as I said, I love making these workshops really interactive, so I would love to invite you now to actually type in which of the above symptoms are you struggling with most. And if it's all of the above, write all of the above, but tell me, are you here because of arthritic pain, joint pain, general fatigue, type 2 diabetes, struggling to lose weight? And let's see what is most relevant to you now. I'm going to say hi to some more folks. We've got Kay from Florida. Welcome. Diane from VA Beach. Barbara, a success member from Boston. Welcome, Barbara. Brenda. Lucy Johnson, so lovely to have you here, success member. Jeannie, yay, I'm so excited you found me too, Jeannie. Becky, Kathy's a newbie, welcome. You'll get lots of support and friendship in here. Janice is here, Belle made it. Jacqueline, awesome, awesome. Arla completed the course, fantastic. Dorothy from Canvas, yay, so exciting, she's a new member today. Laurie, yay, you found it, she's a newbie. Let's see, Belinda, and now let's see some of the conditions that you're hoping to address today. So we've got Gail saying in order type 2 diabetes, joint pain and weight loss. Susan also is struggling with weight loss. Lorraine says all of the above. Welcome Linda from Texas. Felicia says all of the above. Connie's got lupus, which is an autoimmune condition. Mary Corey says all of the above and lots of pain. So sorry to hear it, Mary, and I really hope some of the strategies today will help with that. Anne is fatigue and diabetes. Peggy's weight gain, weight loss struggles and fatigue. Sherry says all of the above. Welcome Sherry, and welcome Beverly. Fibromyalgia, fatigue. Angel's got joint pain, diabetes and fatigue. Tarlene's got thyroid issues, diabetes and stuck at a set point. Melissa is struggling to lose weight, type 2 diabetes. Audrey also says all of the above, inflammation and pain. So as you can see, so many of you ladies are struggling with all of these conditions, chronic conditions, serious fatal conditions, and serious health risks, and things that cause serious pain and suffering, all related to inflammation. And that's why I'm doing this workshop for you today. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to stop reading them out and move on. So the format for today is I'm going to give you a quick mini lecture, Inflammation 101. The cooking demo was my lure to get you here. No, on a serious note, I know all of the misinformation and confusion out there about conditions and diseases and inflammation can be so overwhelming and disempowering. And so I see part of my role is to bring you the best science-backed research and information that you can trust in an easily digestible, understandable form. So I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about inflammation so you understand what you're dealing with, because I think information is power, especially when you're dealing with your health. It's going to be quick, and then we're going to move straight into the cooking. So today we're doing the oven-baked salmon with the lemon butter sauce and steamed greens. I'm actually also going to whip up a quick salsa to show you how I would serve a dish like this at home. And we're doing the cauliflower mash. We'll be doing the tropical Oasis mango smoothie, the chocolate chia seed pudding, and then we'll have Q&A at the end if we have time. I'll make it really interactive and fun throughout. And for all of those of you who are wondering, you will get your very own anti-inflammatory recipe guide, which contains all of these recipes, all of the instructions, all of the health benefits emailed to you after this workshop. So well done for being here and for showing up. You will be getting that recipe guide. Now, a couple of quick announcements before we dive in. First of all, for my very many Life-Changing Cooking Program members and success members who are here today, I'm excited to share with you that we have got an entire module of anti-inflammatory recipes coming in your success program. So you remember recently we did a poll that was the #1 requested topic. So that is coming your way soon if you're in the success program. And we're also doing the second number one, the #2 most requested topic, which was recipes to reduce your blood sugars, blood pressure, and blood cholesterol. So that's another module coming up in the success program. And Darlene, I'm especially glad you're here because your long-awaited topic of hormone balancing is also coming up soon. So for those struggling with thyroid issues and issues with balancing hormones post-menopause, I know Anne-Marie Grutta, you were another one who requested that topic. I'm going to be interviewing an expert in the hormone balancing field. So excited to bring that to you all. And lastly, for my Life-Changing Cooking Program and success members, this Friday, we're doing the workshop with your favorite homemade nutrition and dietitian coaches, all about our favorite nourishing and healing products that we actually use at home. So there is no endorsement or sponsorship or anything. These are literally the things that we all use on ourselves and our families to keep up our busy, healthy lifestyle. So you're going to see behind the scenes on what your favorite homemade coaches actually use at home. So that's this Friday. Check your inbox for the info and the link to join. And that's just for the Life-Changing Cooking Program members and success members. Next quick announcement before we dive in is that for the newbies who are here, ladies who are part of our community, who've been following us on Facebook or with the emails, I'm doing a workshop especially for you tomorrow and Friday. So Thursday and Friday, it's my signature Cooking for Perfect Weight and Blood Numbers workshop. And this is, I'll be peeling back the curtains on the exact system that I've shared with over 85,000 ladies and help my members get the results that you'll be hearing about. So if you are, yay, Anne-Marie, I'm so glad you're here because I just mentioned you. I hope you caught that. But any members, success members who are here in this workshop right now who've had results with their weight loss, reducing blood sugars, blood pressure, blood cholesterol, or other rare conditions, type it in the chat right now just so the ladies who are new to the community can see the sort of incredible results you've been getting because I think it's amazing and so inspiring. And if you can inspire one person to do this for themselves, I think that you're helping to spread the goodness of what the homemade community and method is all about. So that's the thing for the newbies, the people in the community who've been watching this for a while, is check your inbox. I've sent out information about the Cooking for Perfect Weight and Blood Numbers workshops. They're happening Thursday and Friday. There's a few different time slots and you can register. It's free to attend. And really important, we're not doing a replay of those workshops. So if you want to see the exact system my members have used to get results, to lose up to 100 pounds, to reverse diabetes, get off metformin, and get off medications in 12 weeks or less, then that's the place to go. That is it. Let us dive in. I'm all ready. I'm going to check in, see if there's any quick. All right, there are 100 comments, so I'm just going to dive straight in and get started. Here is your quick Inflammation 101 mini lecture, and I promise this will be short, and I promise it will be relevant, and I hope it will be interesting. So the first thing I wanted to start with is, what is inflammation? I think it's really important to understand that inflammation is actually your body's immune system response when it gets attacked. So if you have foreign invaders in your system, if you have bacteria or viruses or toxins or pathogens, or if you cut yourself, if you're injured by some kind of trauma or heat, inflammation is your body healing itself. So inflammation is a localized reaction of your body to heal itself. And so what it does is your white blood cells release certain chemicals into your blood, and those chemicals tell your body to do certain things. So for example, it tells your body to actually send more blood to the affected area, which promotes oxygenation and healing in that area. It also actually constricts the blood vessels around the area, which is an attempt by your body to contain the bacteria and the viruses and the pathogens which may have caused the inflammation or the injury in the first place. And in addition, this then creates the 4 classic signs of acute inflammation, which is redness, heat, swelling, and pain. which you would know. So if you've ever cut yourself, or if you've ever had, like I just did, a rupturing of my eardrum, that is your body's response. Heat, redness, pain, and swelling, okay? Now the thing is that this is your body's normal inflammatory response. It's healthy and it's natural and it's actually essential for healing. So if we didn't have inflammation, infections and wounds would not heal. So inflammation is not the enemy, inflammation is your friend. But this is what's called acute inflammation. So this type of quick body response of your white blood cells fixing an issue is called acute inflammation. So what is then the problem? Well, the problem is what's called chronic inflammation. So unlike acute inflammation, when that response is triggered for a long time, then it actually causes the body to damage itself instead of healing. So this chronic inflammation refers to long-term inflammation that can go for months or even years. Now, you can get chronic inflammation from a variety of things, and I'm going to cover the main ones. Number one is if your body actually failed to eliminate the original cause of that acute inflammatory response. So for example, if you have bacteria or viruses that hang around and your body's unable to eliminate them, or toxins in your body, then that can lead to chronic inflammation because your body wasn't able to fight it off. Another cause is autoimmune disorders, which I'll be talking about in a minute in more detail. But basically that's when your body attacks normal healthy tissue because it mistakes it for a pathogen. So your body is trying to get rid of something that it thinks needs to be removed from your body, but it's actually your joints or it's your skin. And this is what's called an autoimmune condition. Another cause of chronic inflammation is long-term exposure to things that are irritants or toxins for your body. So the classic example would be cigarette smoking. You're introducing a lot of toxic chemicals in your body. If you do that for years and years, then that can lead to chronic inflammation. But other examples can be environmental pollutants, toxins or chemicals in cleaning products, etc. And then the last one is actually prolonged stress and anxiety. That can also lead to chronic inflammation. So that isn't comprehensive, but it pretty much gives you an idea of, okay, what causes this chronic bad inflammation. Now, I wanted to talk a bit more about autoimmune diseases. So this is when your immune system, which is responsible for that positive, healthy inflammatory response, actually attacks your healthy body cells. So it mistakes parts of your body, like your joints or skin, as foreign, and then it releases proteins called autoantibodies that attack these healthy cells. So no one's really sure what causes immune conditions. They do tend to run in families, and women, especially African American women and Hispanic women, tend to have a higher risk of autoimmune conditions. There's more than 80 types of autoimmune conditions, which means it can be difficult to diagnose them, and it can be a long, frustrating process trying to get diagnosed. I'm going to talk about some of the ways you can diagnose chronic inflammation in a minute. But some examples of autoimmune conditions is rheumatoid arthritis is one of the most commonly known ones. Inflammatory bowel disease, so conditions such as ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease are examples of IBD. Lupus is an example, multiple sclerosis is an example, and psoriasis of the skin is also examples. So these are all autoimmune diseases which are part of a chronic inflammatory response in your body. Now, a quick note on fibromyalgia. Technically, it is not an autoimmune condition. They believe it's something to do with malfunction of the central nervous system. However, I have worked with so many members with fibromyalgia who have reported relief from chronic painful years and years of symptoms that they've suffered through the principles that I teach in my program and that I'll be sharing with you today. And so I wanted to mention it and include it in this presentation because even though fibromyalgia apparently doesn't cause inflammation, it seems like the strategies to reduce inflammation in the body that I teach and will be teaching today seem to really, really benefit my members who've suffered from fibromyalgia. Now, the thing about autoimmune diseases is they can have flare-ups, they can get worse, they can have remissions when they get better. The thing is, though, that the classic sign of an autoimmune disease is inflammation. And the treatment of autoimmune diseases depends on the disease, but in most cases, the most important goal is to reduce inflammation. So that's kind of what we're dealing with and what we're hoping to address today. So what are the symptoms and effects of chronic inflammation? Why do we care? Well, in the short term, some of the symptoms are the very things that you ladies have been mentioning. So it's things like fatigue, low-grade fevers, muscle aches, joint pain. Also it can be abdominal pain or chest pain. And it can also be things like rashes, mouth sores, and skin conditions. So not very nice. If you're living in a world where you constantly have fatigue, achy joints, muscle pains, you know, chest pain or abdominal pain, skin sores, that's a tough bag to be holding. And I really feel for how hard it is, especially if you can't really get help from your doctor and you're having difficulty with diagnosis and nothing you've tried seems to work when it comes to medication. So I really hope that the strategies I share today will provide you with some relief. And I want you to know that so many of my members have reported such immense improvements in these, everything I've just listed from the stuff I'm sharing today. So it really does work. So hang in there and keep trying and keep searching for things that feel right to you and that work for you. Now, the other problem is that chronic low-level inflammation is also implicated in a series of a host of serious chronic and sometimes fatal conditions. So things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and even mental illness, things like depression, have been linked with inflammation. We're not exactly sure yet what the relationship is, but that's pretty serious. And if the simple things I'm going to show you today can help with some of that, then it's a pretty awesome intervention to take to potentially get protection from those conditions. And as I say, again, I've helped thousands of ladies with reversing things like high blood cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. So this stuff really, really does work. So I would love to know at this point, can you relate? So if you're new and just joining us, my name is Rakoczy. I'm the founder of Homemade Method. I've got master's degrees from Stanford and UC Berkeley. My goal today is to show you this inflammatory cooking demo and also equip you with some really simple, usable information to empower you with understanding of your condition and how to reverse it. So at this point, I would invite you, type in your name, whether you're a current Life-Changing Cooking Program member or a Success member, if you're new to our community. But more importantly, ladies, share with me, can you relate to the above? So I've just listed some of the symptoms of chronic inflammation. It's things like fatigue, low-grade fevers, muscle pain, joint pain, and then those chronic complications that I've mentioned. Can you relate to these? And what are some of the things, if you haven't already typed it in, then what are some of the things that you are struggling with that you think could be caused by chronic inflammation? And if you're a current member and you've experienced some relief or reversal of these symptoms, including weight loss, type it in, share with the other ladies. It's super inspiring for them to see how far you've come and also share what you're still working on. So welcome, Patricia. So happy you're here. And well done, Gloria, on losing 11 pounds recently. Debbie says, I can relate to all this way too well. Kathy says, I can relate to the above. Patricia says, I most certainly can, muscle and joint pain. And Patricia, you've had some amazing results with losing weight and reversing your high blood numbers. Valerie, new member, welcome. So glad you're here too. Cindy's a current member, yes, can totally relate. Darlene's A1C went from 8.3 to 6.3. Congratulations, Darlene, you're almost in that pre-diabetic range. Linda can relate, and the brain fog, absolutely. And Linda is an example of one of my members who is just, she's a warrior woman. We are all so proud of her and so inspired by her every day. And Linda definitely suffers from chronic inflammation in her body. When she started Life-Changing Cooking, she couldn't eat anything but blended up foods. And through the program, she's been able to eat some nuts and grains, reverse her rare skin condition, and even start eating salmon. Now, Linda had a setback recently because she suffered a stroke, and that's why we're also inspired and barracking for her on a recovery. So hang in there, Linda, you will get back there. Keep going. Belle has got hypothyroidism and has lost 93 pounds. Sherry's A1C went from 7.9 to 7.1 in 4 months. That's awesome, Sherry. Keep going. Imagine if in 12 months from now you'd reverse your diabetes. That's awesome. Or 6 months, actually, at the rate you're going. Carol says, relate to a lot of these. Loretta is a member, and joint pain and fatigue for sure. All right, I'm going to skip the comments and move on. So that's why we care, and that's what we're trying to address today. So then how do you diagnose it? Well, there's pretty much three main ways. One is just, do you have the symptoms above? If you do, you probably have chronic inflammation. So it's the fatigue, low-grade fevers, muscle or joint aches and pains. That's number one. Number two, with autoimmune diseases, there is no one single test. So your doctor will do a combination of various tests, clinical examination in order to try and diagnose you. There is also a kind of first-line test that they do for autoimmune conditions, which is the anti-nuclear antibody test. It's called the ANA test, and that is because with autoimmune conditions, your body creates these anti-nuclear antibodies, and so they're testing for the presence of those in your blood, which can be a sign that you have an autoimmune condition. The third main test for chronic inflammation in your body is testing for high sensitivity C-reactive proteins called HSCRP markers. Now, the thing is that the reason they test for this is because if you're high in this, it can be an indication that you've got high blood cholesterol, which might be putting strain on your arteries, and that strain might be causing this inflammation throughout your arteries, which can then be a risk factor for getting a heart attack. However, the problem with this test, searching for this HSCRP marker, is all it really shows you is that you have a lot of inflammation in your body. It doesn't actually tell you the source or the cause of the inflammation. So therefore it can help with the diagnosis, but it's not really recommended for everyone to do it because it just tells you that you have it. So it's not terribly helpful on its own, because that inflammation could actually be a sprained ankle. It could be that you're suffering from a bad cold or flu. It could be any number of things. So it's kind of hit and miss. Basically, if you have the symptoms, I would be looking at taking the measures that I'm going to be sharing with you in today's workshop. And it sounds like you all do. All right, so how do we treat and reverse chronic inflammation? And I only have about 3 more minutes of the cholesterol inflammation 101 mini lecture. So we are going to get to the cooking in just a second. So there's basically 4 things you can do to reverse and treat. And tell me if this is helpful, because I try and put together the shortest, tightest presentation that will be the most helpful to you. So comment in the chat if you find this helpful, or if you want less or more next time, because I definitely want to make this suit your needs. But moving right on to how do we treat and reverse chronic inflammation, there's basically 4 things you can do. Number 1 is medications. So there's non-steroidal medications, which is just things like ibuprofen, which reduces inflammation, and painkillers. Simple things like Tylenol, aspirin, whatever. So that is one medication. And then the other thing is steroids. So these steroids basically dampen your body's inflammatory response. Corticosteroids is the most common one. And what the benefit is the goal of the steroids is actually to reduce the production of the inflammatory chemicals that your body makes, which over time, if your body keeps making those inflammatory chemicals and isn't able to remove the inflammation, so if it's chronic instead of acute, they can actually cause damage to your tissues. So the steroids are basically helping to prevent your body damaging itself with its immune reaction, which might be out of control or not doing its job properly. The other benefit of the steroids is they can reduce the activity of the immune system so that you get less of a response when you get those inflammatory causes. The downside is you're not actually treating the cause of the inflammation. You're not going to the source or the root. You're kind of just suppressing your body's natural defense to it. And that's why I started by talking about how inflammation is your body's natural and healthy and normal way of protecting itself. So inflammation isn't necessarily bad. What's bad is when it becomes chronic and we're not addressing the source or the cause of that inflammation. The other downside of medications is side effects. So the side effects of steroids are not great. It's things like osteoporosis, which can give you fragile bones. It's things like hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, weight gain, increased vulnerability to infections, and things like cataracts or glaucoma. So I don't think anyone would put their hand up to wanting any of those side effects. So that's the downside of taking things like steroid as a medication to reduce inflammation in the long term. Now, as always, I want to say, ladies, ask your doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not here to give you medical advice. And I always say your doctor is your first line of defense for whatever medications you need to go on, whatever treatment you need to go on. And at the same token, I encourage you, and the reason I exist to support you is to help you get empowered about actually treating and reversing your conditions, because that can be one of the things that doctors still today are not as educated about, is looking at the whole and really looking at the causes of illnesses and chronic pain and chronic conditions and how you can actually get healthy again. So that's my job. And so it's a balancing act between listening to your doctor and then you being really your own master of your destiny and doing what you can to get healthy. Okay, so that's number one. Number two thing you can do to treat and reverse chronic inflammation is herbal supplements. So some of the best things for inflammation are things like hyssop, ginger, turmeric, and cannabis, actually. And that's one of the reasons why cannabis use is being so promoted these days and legalized, because it has been proven to help reduce inflammation in the body. That's why it can also be good for pain relief. So luckily, ginger and turmeric are also things you can eat, and we'll be using the turmeric today. And actually, I wish I had some fresh ginger root here so I could show you how to use that too, and I'll talk about it. But so herbal supplements can help with inflammation. The last two things are really simple and obvious, but I'm going to tell you anyway, and then I'm going to tell you how to do them. The third thing is avoid things that are inflammatory. So if you don't want chronic long-term inflammation, let's get rid of the things that are causing the inflammation in your body. And the fourth one is do more of the things that reduce inflammation. So I'm going to quickly talk about these two. What are the things that cause chronic long-term inflammation in your body? What are the foods and activities that most cause inflammation? So when it comes to foods, it's things like this. It's refined white sugars. So it's including your sodas and sugary drinks. You know, it's candy, it's ice cream, it's all of those things. It's number two is fried foods and French fries. So things that are deep fried cause inflammation in the body. Number three is processed and refined carbohydrates. So things like white bread and pastries and cookies and chips. The next thing is red meat and processed meats. So that's things like hot dogs and sausages and even ham, things like that. And then the last one is margarine and vegetable oils. So these are like the main foods that cause inflammation and chronic inflammation in your body. Now, if you're listening to that list and going, she just listed all my favorite foods, don't worry. You do not need to quit them. And that is one of the ways why the homemade method message is so different to everything else out there. You just need to balance them with a lot of the good stuff. So what we're talking about is find ways to make this stuff easy and accessible and delicious and satisfying. And then naturally your body cravings will reset itself, so you want less of the bad stuff. And any of my members who are on and listening, comment in the chat if you found that your cravings and enjoyment of junk foods and processed foods has reduced since you started the program, because no one believes me when they start. I myself struggled with junk food cravings and sugary cravings for most of my life before I started practicing this system. And since I did that for over 10 years, I've maintained my ideal weight easily. I've stopped binge eating. I've stopped really having cravings for sugary stuff and junk foods, and I still indulge now and then. I love having chips now and then. I love having ice cream now and then. I love having whatever, I said, chips, ice cream, candy. I love having candy now and then. I just don't need to do it all the time, and I can control how much I have. So that's what I want for you, and that is the key to making this lifestyle sustainable and easy. So the next thing I quickly want to talk about that causes inflammation is things like stress, anxiety, pollution, and chemicals. So that's pretty much what you want to avoid as much as possible. Try to avoid these things that cause chronic inflammation in the body. Now, the last point about how to treat and reverse chronic inflammation is the things that you need to do more of. So what are the foods and activities which most reduce inflammation in your body? Number one is plants. So the plants contain things called phytochemicals, antioxidants, and polyphenols, which actually protect your body from damage and reduce inflammation. So think of things like leafy greens, spinach and kale, tomatoes, and fruits like berries and oranges. So plants should be one of the biggest things you're eating, which will help you reverse and reduce inflammation in your body. The next thing is nuts and seeds. So it's things like chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, and almonds. The next thing is healthy oils like olive oil and avocado oil. The next thing is fatty fish like salmon and mackerel and tuna and sardines. So these are high in those beneficial omega-3 fatty acids that reverse inflammation in your body. And then the last category might surprise you. It's actually whole grains. So whole grains and things like beans are high in fiber that actually help reduce inflammation in your body. So plants, nuts and seeds, olive oil, fatty fish and whole grains. And guess what? We're pretty much going to be using all of those in today's cooking demo. And then also things, lifestyle factors like exercise, meditation and yoga also help your body to reverse inflammation. So I'm going to show you how to use all of these today by demoing the 3 cooking recipes. So the 3 recipes we're making: the salmon with lemon butter sauce and cauliflower mash, the tropical Oasis mango smoothie, and the chocolate chia seed pudding. So let us get started right now. Let's see. All right, so we're going to begin with the salmon. So I have it laid out here. So the first thing is, I want to show you, in the recipe, there's actually a way to make it, and I'm going to show you an even easier way to make it. So I'm going to get the aluminum foil out, and you can do this with me at home. When you watch the replay, you can check out the recipes and then cook it with me at home. But basically, all you need to do is get your fish, and I happen to have 2 different types of fish here. So I bought ahi tuna, and you could do this with tuna. You could do it with any type of fish you like. The best fish for reducing inflammation is actually fish that's rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So here I have a piece of salmon, and I want to show you a pro tip that I think is great for people getting started on this healthy lifestyle, which is if you sear your fish with the skin down before you start cooking, then it actually develops a nice crust, a nice brown crust, which can make it just more delicious and appetizing when you're eating it at home. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of a sear right now for you. So I'm going to turn this pan on. I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is. And I'm just going to add some olive oil to the pan. So the trick with searing is you really want your pan to be really hot, like piping hot. And so you want to put that on high heat. On the flip side, you don't want the oil to smoke, because if it smokes, it's oxidized, and that actually means that it causes more inflammation in the body. So it's a balancing act. And I will say that baking, the way we're going to prepare the salmon today, is one of the best ways to preserve the fragile omega-3 fatty acids in the fish, which is the key thing that actually helps to reduce the inflammation in your body. However, when it comes to food, it's a balancing act. You shouldn't try and be perfect, because if you try and be perfect, it's not going to be delicious and you're not going to be able to keep it up. So what I would normally do is take a piece of salmon like this and then just slice a little bit of lemon, and I'm going to squeeze some of the juice of the lemon onto the salmon, and then we're going to put it skin down on the pan, and we're going to give it a nice crust. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, because it just makes it more delicious and appetizing before you bake it. You do not need to do this step. But if you're serving it to your family, or you're just getting started with fatty fish and you're not sure how you feel about it, this is a great trick to make it more delicious. And you can do this actually with any meat, chicken, steak, pork, anything that you're about to put in the oven in order to make it really juicy, is give it that nice crust first. So this should be heating up. A way you can test if it's ready is to spit a little bit of water in the pan, and if it spits and jumps up, it means the pan's hot enough. So I've got a little bit of water here now. I'm going to spit that in. See how that's jumping? Can you hear that? So I'm just going to take, where's my tongs? I'm going to take a pair of tongs, and you want to gently place it away from you into the pan, so if the oil spits, it won't hit you. And then this should start, you should hear a big sizzle if the pan's hot enough. So make sure the oil's there to catch it. And then I'm going to place this away from me. Hear that? In the pan. And what's beautiful about searing is you can just do it literally for about 2 or 3 minutes and get that nice crust on the fish, and we're going to finish it in the oven. So I'm going to let that cook away on its own, and while it's going, let's get everything else ready for the fish to go in the oven. So I'm going to actually begin with the chard. So something I wanted to show you, everything I do is about making life quicker and easier for you when it comes to cooking. So if you get a bunch of chard like this, you can basically bunch it up. We show you basic culinary cutting techniques in the course, and then you just want to get your fingers out of the way using the claw grip and just cut it through into little strings like this. And so this is a great way. What I would do, instead of steaming this separately. In order to save a pan and make things even quicker and easier, I'm going to cook it in the same exact foil as the fish. So all the flavors and the juices that we use to cook and flavor our fish is going to go onto that. So what a great, easy way to get some greens in right away. And now I'm going to prepare some herbs. The advice I give my members about using fresh herbs is when it comes to spices, most people use too much. And when it comes to herbs, most people don't use enough. So be confident about herbs. They have incredible properties. They help lower blood pressure. They've been used for literally centuries in order to reverse conditions. You could write a whole book about the benefits of fresh herbs, and not to mention they give amazing flavors to your food, and they bring added fiber, which actually helps with bowel conditions. It helps with digestion. It helps you to feel full and light, and of course it helps you to have regular bowel movements, which we all want. So look how much herbs, how much herbs I've just chopped for just this fish. So I'm actually going to mix some into the chard here. And then what I'm going to do is actually put some lemon juice straight in there. So that starts to season right away. I'm going to check on the fish. Oh, that's cooking beautifully. That's going to be ready in just a second. And now I'm going to put some lovely thin slices of lemon into, let's move this tomato so you can see what I'm doing. So some lovely thin slices of lemon. I'm going to lay it directly onto the mix here so that this is going to be seasoning our fish and our veggies while it all cooks in the oven. I think this is done. Let's take a look at that. Let me see if I can show you. So if this was me, I would probably actually give that a bit more time. So I'm going to just pop that back in because I want you to see what this can look like. Whoops. I really think that getting that nice brown crust on the skin of the salmon, making it crispy, is part of the key of making it really appetizing. So I want you to see this. You do not have to do this. You can just flake the meat and use it as you want the fish. I'm just going to do this one because it looks better. This one's a bit badly cut. Okay, so that is pretty much ready. And now if you wanted to, you could add salt, you could add pepper, you could add cayenne pepper, you could add paprika. But we have a bed of herbs there all ready to go. And now what I recommend you do is add some butter, because butter adds flavor and you don't need to be afraid of using fat, sugar and salt in your cooking, because that is what makes food taste amazing, right? So the amount of butter that you're going to be using is going to be so much less than if you're eating fast food or you're eating out of a restaurant. So I might put 2 dabs of butter like that on top of this, and that's just going to melt beautifully into those vegetables, and that's going to be delicious. And I'm even saving a bit more butter to put on top of the fish. So that is that. And look how fast and easy this is. So far it's been just a couple of minutes. And in a minute I'll get the fish off. I'm going to lay it on top. I'm going to add more herbs on top, give it a squeeze of lemon juice, pour some avocado oil, wrap it up, and we're going to put it in the oven, and it's going to cook right while we're doing this session. So let's prepare the cauliflower mix. So super easy. Cauliflower, the vegetable of 2018. So I buy it like this and just literally rip off these things. And if you're doing it for presentation, it's good to have big florets. So if you're using broccoli or cauliflower, which are cruciferous vegetables, both very good for cancer prevention, you want to break the florets off like this for better presentation when you're keeping it whole. But now we're going to be mashing it, so we don't really mind what it looks like. So let's see. That's cooking nicely. I hope you can all still hear me, because I know that it gets pretty loud. Let's see. My mouth pad just got wet, so it's not responding. Wait a second. Okay, I think this fish is done. I'm going to turn that off. Okay. Ah, there we go. Awesome. Thank you, Frederica, for confirming you can hear me. Let us get this fish out before the fire alarm goes off. All right, let's take a look. So that's looking nice now. So I'm going to bring this right over the camera because I want you to see it. So there. Can you see that? To me, something like that with that nice brown crust, and look at it side on, it's so much more appetizing. So that is the trick. You can do that with chicken, pork, anything. You can do that with portobello mushrooms or tofu if you're vegetarian. So that's the fish. And now I'm literally gonna get the vegetables, and you could do in this, you could do cherry tomatoes, you could do mushrooms, you could do broccolini. They would all go fantastic with this. And I'm literally gonna take my fish, pop it there on top. I wish you could see this better. Let's move this. Ah, I lost a line. Okay, so let's tilt that up. There you go. So that's just popped on the top of that. I might add the dab of butter on top. I'm gonna add the squeeze of lemon juice. And then I'm gonna top it with our fresh chopped herbs and wrap this puppy up and put it in the oven for, honestly, because I've already done the sear, it will probably be ready in about 5 to 7 minutes. If you had more hearty vegetables in there, like asparagus would go well as well, or broccolini, you might want to cook it a bit longer, but that will be ready really quickly. And imagine you could make 6 of these packets. You could freeze them and then just have them ready to go into the oven and cook anytime. So I'm literally going to be putting this in the oven and show you the finished product. But before we do, I'm going to do the cauliflower really quickly. So as you can see, I listed some of the best ingredients for reversing inflammation in the body, and they included leafy greens, they included fatty fish like salmon, and we've already used 2 of those in the recipes that we've done so far. And also they include these cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower and broccoli, which are also very cancer preventative and protective. So I'm going to show you what I would do with something like this cauliflower. I would just cut through it really quickly. So as you can see, cooking healthy is not hard and time consuming and boring. It's pretty quick and easy and fun and beautiful. So that is done. The instructions actually say to mix the herbs with the cauliflower. I probably wouldn't do that because I'd probably want to keep the cauliflower as a white thing to enjoy. I like having a different colors on your plate is part of what we eat with our eyes first. So when you have different colors on your plate, it's part of what tells your brain that this is a delicious, exciting meal to eat. So we want to keep it exciting. And so I've probably made the aluminum foil here too small. I would normally make that bigger. So we're going to pop that in here. There. And so the instructions say to roast it flat on a sheet pan, but I'm going to show you something different just so you have a few little tools up your sleeve. We forgot to put the avocado oil on the salmon. Honestly, you don't really need it because the salmon is already an oily fish. We already seared it in some olive oil, and also we put a little bit of butter in there. Butter goes great with fish. Butter, lemon, and salt are the best seasonings for fish. You honestly really don't need anything else. But I'm going to use the avocado oil on the cauliflower. And one of the reasons why the avocado oil is so good is because foods cooked at very high temperatures can cause oils to smoke. And as I mentioned, when an oil reaches its smoke point, it means it's oxidized and it releases free radicals. And that's one of the things that causes inflammation in the body. But oils like avocado oil have a high smoke point, so you can use them in high temperature cooking. I'm going to add a little bit of sea salt. And I'm going to also add a clove of garlic, and I'm going to show you how to easily use garlic like this, because garlic has incredible anti-inflammatory properties, incredible antiviral properties, incredible antibacterial properties. It has been used for centuries for all sorts of healing, and so that's how easy it is. I pop that out, and now the trick for using garlic, because I know some people dread it, and I don't want you to buy it in a powder or granule form if you can, because then you're losing out on a lot of the health properties. So I want you to use garlic fresh like this. So all you need to do is chop the ends off like that, and then squash it like this with the base of your hand. Now, you may notice that during this entire cooking demo, I'm only going to be using a chef knife. And one of the first lessons we teach in Life-Changing Cooking is about culinary cutting techniques and the basic kitchen equipment you need, as well as the knife you need. Now, the only knife you really need at home is a chef knife, and you should get comfortable with using this because it's going to make your life much, 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 much easier. So things like garlic, I see people using tiny knives. No, that makes your life harder. You want a big knife like this, and then use the claw technique so you can't cut your fingers. You just curl them back, and then you rest the knife on your finger like that, and look how easy it is to slice that. So you basically chop the ends off like I did, and then you crush it down in the palm of your hand, and then you're able to chop it like this and just peel off the skin before you do. Super easy. So that took me about 5 seconds, and look at that, a whole clove of garlic. If I wanted to use that raw in a salad, I would leave it a lot bigger, but we're roasting it, and so I'm going to put it straight onto the cauliflower like this. I will mention, with a lot of foods, most of the healing properties are most preserved when you eat them raw or lightly steamed. But again, it's a balancing act of flavors. And so what I would probably do at home is leave half the clove raw and mash it in, and then cook the other half, because roasted garlic tastes amazing. So it's a balancing act, and you're still going to get some health properties if it's roasted. So this is our cauliflower. I'm actually going to wrap this up a little bit and then pop that alongside the salmon, and this whole thing is going to go into the oven. I really made the aluminum foil too small, and now I'm making life hard for myself. In fact, I'm going to get a layer to top it with. We were testing if I had enough aluminum foil before the workshop. That's why it looks so weird, because we re-rolled it. So there you go. So I'm going to actually give this more space because I want it to roast easily and quickly, and I'm going to put a little lid on it. Okay? So as you can see, even if you make mistakes along the way, very forgiving, very easy, very fast. So that is good. And you could roast anything like this. Sweet potato, you could roast carrots, you could roast beets, you could roast zucchini, you can roast mushrooms, you can roast cherry tomatoes. Ta-da! All ready. Okay, let us put this on the tray, and there you go. That is ready to go in the oven. Okay, everything smells like garlic now. So I'm going to give my hands a little quick wash, and then I will show you a quick salsa that isn't even on your recipes, because I want to show you how I would actually prepare this at home and how I would actually serve it as a satisfying full meal to my family at home. So quick wash of the hands, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So there's all these things that when you start doing cooking demos on camera, you don't know that you're going to need, but by now I know all the things I'm going to need. Lots of spoons, lots of paper towels, and something to wash my hands with. So I'm all set. I used to be like, how do I wash my hands? So anyway, the way I would serve a meal like this at home is with a nice fresh salsa. And one of the best anti-inflammatory ingredients is also avocados, and it is also tomatoes. And so we're going to use that to make a salsa. I'm going to show you how to get even more greens into your meal, because I would always, the more whole raw greens you can eat, the more you're going to reduce your high blood pressure, your high blood cholesterol, protect your body from cancer, reduce inflammation, reverse diabetes. Pretty much the more greens you can eat, the better. And the problem, I guess, is that we don't really know what to do with them or how to make them delicious. So I'm going to show you a very quick, easy raw salad right now that you can make, that I would accompany a meal like this with, to really make it a full, satisfying meal, because the salmon has got a kind of fatty, salty flavor, and the greens that are underneath are going to be creamy and oily, lemon buttery flavor. The cauliflower mash is pretty flat. It's also creamy. So what we want with this is something bright. We want something bright and tangy to lift the meal up. And that's partly what the lemon juice does with the salmon, but this is the point of this salsa. We want to brighten it up, and we want to add some fresh raw veggies in the mix. So this is the trick, how you prep an avocado. You chop around the seed like that, And once it's done, you have your half avocado. If you just want to use half, you scoop it out. But with the seed, you go like this with the knife, twist, it comes out, and then I normally push it on the edge of my chopping board and then poke it out like that. So that's how quick and easy that is. And then the next trick with avocado is you slice a little crisscross pattern on the inside, just like a checkerboard. And we're going to do it on the other one. And then you literally get a spoon and scoop it out. But before I do that, I told you I had everything ready, and now I don't have everything I need. Let's see, what can I use for the salad? I'll use this. Actually, I do have something. So I'm going to make the salsa in here. So the first thing I would normally do is start with the raw greens in the bottom. And since we have all these beautiful fresh herbs, they're going to add such a lovely, bright, pungent, beautiful flavor to our salsa. So I'm going to use the fresh herbs as well. And something like chard, it's a very heavy and bitter green. So you really want to chop this quite finely, actually. You want kind of shoelace thick strips. You could do this with kale as well. And the ingredients we're adding, things like avocado and avocado oil and lemon juice and salt, they're going to help dim down that bitterness so it's not too full on. So that might be the amount of chard I would use. We're going to pop it in this bowl. And then next, I'm going to start layering deliciousness on top of it. So the next layer would be these fresh herbs. And I'm going to show you how fast you could literally bundle them up all together. I would probably, if I was doing this on my own at home, I would chop the herbs separately. I wouldn't do the 3 bunches at the same time. But I'm just showing you how fast and easy this can be. So there's 3 herbs, cilantro, parsley, and dill in there, all of which help fight inflammation and promote healthy blood numbers and help lower blood pressure actually as well. So am I making a big mess over here? Let's clean up the herbs over there. Okay. Oh my gosh, that smells so beautiful. Take a look at that. Beautiful. And then we're going to do the tomato next. So I've got the cherry tomatoes here. I find these just taste better when you chop them in half, but when I saute them, I always leave them whole so they burst open the juice and the flavors in your mouth. But when I put them in salads, I always chop them in half. It's just a thing I have. You don't have to do it too. You can do it how you like it. I'm just saying I find it more delicious when they're chopped in half. So I would probably do a bit more than this, but that gives you an idea. And I'm going to also add 1 actual whole fresh tomato. So again, I would chop this in strips like this. Then bunch it up, turn it 90 degrees, and then chop it the other way. And this is literally exactly how I would cook dinner at home for my family. So you can see this is not time consuming. It's taking me minutes to whip up something that's going to be so fresh and so tasty. You get that? So it's all about, you want it to be uniform and you want it to be colorful. And then now here's our avocado that we did the grid pattern on. And here we go. Scoop that out and look, it comes out in beautiful uniform little squares. So presentation is part of the key to make food that looks delicious and appetizing. So we've got these beautifully uniform little squares of avocado. Not quite uniform. There you go. So let us pop that in the bowl. And I'm going to add 1 whole other one straight in the bowl. Okay. And then I would definitely add a lot of lemon juice to this. And I'm the biggest lemon juice fan. And lemon juice actually is really good at reversing an acid-forming effect that certain foods have in your body. And that acid-forming effect is incidentally linked to chronic inflammation. So things like lemon juice and apple cider vinegar, that's one of their main health benefits, is they are alkalizing in the body, along with all fruits and vegetables are alkalizing in the body. So they help reverse that chronic inflammatory response and the acid-forming response. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick. And I want to point out, I'm not spending tons of time pulling out lemon seeds It doesn't bother me. You can eat them, you can swallow them, or you can set them aside when you eat dinner. I don't mind, but this is how I save a lot of time when I'm doing food prep. So I would mix that all through to let all the flavors marry. And then I would definitely add a little bit of salt and pepper, and let me show you what that looks like. How beautiful does that look? So that's the sort of thing I would serve this baked salmon dish with. So that gives you an idea. I wonder if the salmon is ready. Should we take a look? How long has it been in for? Does anyone know? I have no idea. I want to say 5 or 6 minutes. Do you think it's ready? Let's see. Will we check it? Let's check it, okay? Okay, so I am going to put this wooden chopping board down, and let's take a quick peek. So, salmon first. Who wants to vote on whether it's ready? Oh, it looks amazing. Oh my gosh, that looks unbelievable. All right, so the good thing with alfoil is you can kind of pick it up. I'm going to bring this over. Wait, okay, it's burning my hand a little bit. I'm going to bring this over to the camera. So, there you go. Look how nice that looks. And all of the greens underneath are all softened. And look at that fish. So the way you can tell it's done is when you flake it. And you don't want to overdo salmon. That pinky color is kind of perfect. So honestly, I would take that out of the oven. And I'm also going to show you quickly how I would plate a meal like this. Now, I know that we advertised cauliflower mash for the topic, for the session. I'm not going to do the mash. I personally am not that into cauliflower mash. I love mashed potato and I like cauliflower. I'm not a huge fan of cauliflower mash. If I do mashed potato, I leave the skin on, which adds extra fiber and prevents the blood sugar spikes. If you were to eat a mashed potato with a salad like this and fish like this, even if you're diabetic, it's unlikely you're going to get a blood sugar spike because the healthy fats, the vegetables, the fiber, and the lean protein in the fish is going to help regulate your blood sugars. So you should be okay. But if you want to mash your cauliflower, you go for it. All I would do is put it in a bowl, and I would add maybe a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of yogurt, mash up with a fork, or you can use a food processor to get that delicious, smooth mashed potato-like texture. But instead, I'm just going to show you how I would plate a meal like this. So I'm going to clean this plate quickly. So presentation really matters, and I always tell my members, imagine you're cooking for the queen because you are the queen. So clean the plate. I would get a spatula to put this. I would try and scoop all the greens from underneath and keep the lemon there as well and get them all out. As a side. Okay. Oh, that's so beautiful, the smell, and it's super juicy, I can see. And then I would add my side. Let's see, where will we put the side? I would probably just add a scoop of the cauliflower mix right on the plate like this. As a secret aside, the cauliflower is not properly done, but you could cook that for 5 or 10 minutes longer, or in my case, I love raw cauliflower, so I would eat it like that for sure. And then I would add an abundance of this salsa. So I love, love, love filling up on a lot of vegetables, and that's the big thing I'm always harassing my members about is lots of salad with your dinner. And when you make it so tasty like this, and so tangy and so bright and beautiful, you'll want to eat a lot of it. So that's kind of an example of what a dinner might look like. Let me tilt this up without pouring it on the ground. So that is a meal. And as you can see, it does not take long. Let's see what the best angle is. I'll see if I can come up. All right. Can you see that okay? Give me some love hearts if you can see that okay. So that is dish number 1. Okay. So I'll set that aside, prepare the area, and then we'll whiz through number 2 and 3. And I want to point out as well, this whole meal was prepared with one chopping board, one pan, which actually doesn't need washing because it's got aluminum foil in it, and one pan. So pretty easy, and that could feed several people for days, the amount of food I've just cooked. The only difference would be I'd cook more fish and more cauliflower. And I've got, as you can see, lots of this salsa for several days. So that is item one. And I will get this stuff out of the way. And then we'll do the tropical mango Oasis smoothie. Give this a quick wipe. Pro tip, keep your cooking area clean and organized. I swear it doesn't just make cooking a more pleasant, easy, and fast experience. It literally, majorly reduces your risk of making mistakes and spilling things, and it literally makes your food taste better. I have no idea why it makes food taste better, but it just does. I think because, you know, I have this saying that your external reality is a reflection of your inner state. So if you create a calm, clean, organized cooking space, then you will create a beautiful, calm dinner as opposed to a chaotic, messy dinner that you don't enjoy preparing. So it does make a difference. So I really, really recommend clearing your workspace, cleaning up before you start, making sure there's a lot of space available for what you need to do. It does make a difference. All right, I'm going to wash my knife and then I'll be right back. Okay. So the next thing we're making is the mango Oasis smoothie. So this is a pretty awesome recipe because one of its star ingredients is turmeric. And so turmeric is something that has been used for centuries to help achy joints, and it's a powerhouse anti-inflammatory compound. So I'm going to bring out some of the ingredients we'll be using for this. We've got our pineapple, which is nicely ripening now. We've got our other smoothie ingredients right here. So this is really fun, really easy, and really fast. So I'm actually going to just prepare it straight up into this container. And as all of my members know, I'm not a big fan of measuring. I like to make things really easy and really fast. If you want to measure, you have all the measurements you need in the recipes. I'm going to show you how to do it with no measuring to save you time and make it really fast and easy and more fun, in my opinion. So let's see. So the mango is the first ingredient. I'm going to show you how you can actually cut the flesh off a mango. And the recommendation here is that you actually cut it like this and then freeze it in advance in a Ziploc bag, because freezing your fruit gives it that delicious, amazing, creamy, milkshake, ice cream-like texture, and that's what you want. It's the exact same methodology as the avocado. You want to create a crisscross pattern, and then we're going to use a spoon to scoop out the mango flesh. Now, because I'm live, I'm not going to freeze this right now. I'm going to scoop it straight in the blender, and I'm also going to show you a cheat trick, which is something I would definitely use if I'm short of time, but also when mangoes are out of season, because they're not always in season. And to the extent possible, you want to buy your produce in season, because that's when you're going to maximize the beneficial health properties of the fruit or vegetable, because when they're in season, it means they traveled locally to get to you, they're picked right, and research shows that they have the most beneficial health properties. So that is the mango. And so the cheat trick is buying it pre-frozen. So I'm going to add some mango chunks. Now, mangoes actually help lower bad cholesterol, and they help normalize insulin levels. And who doesn't love mangoes? They taste absolutely amazing. So you can buy it frozen, no harm in that. You do preserve the nutritional benefits when you freeze fruits and vegetables. So For sure, you can go with frozen if that's easier or better for you. Now, one of the great things about smoothies is you can hide vegetables in them and be eating these fresh leafy greens, which, remember, they're your best friend for reducing inflammation and also for lowering blood pressure, normalizing insulin levels. That's a fresh bunch of spinach. I'd probably use more than that. And you want kind of, honestly, it depends what you can stomach. Start small or use none if you don't like it like that. You've got to make this delicious so you like it and you can stick to it. So I'm going to err on kind of an average amount, that's about a big handful, about a cup there. And you can't taste this. And the key is adding the ice, using the frozen mango. So I've got about 4 cubes of ice right there. And now I'm going to show you a trick for pineapple. So if you have a pineapple that's getting overripe at home, when you buy pineapple, you should be able to smell it and smell the incredible aromas of pineapple. If not, it needs more days to ripen, and you should leave it on your deck or counter outside. You can put a banana near it to help it ripen. But if your pineapple is starting to get too ripe and you can't use it quickly enough, of course you can freeze it, but here's another trick. You can chop off the end like this, and then you can place it like this on a plate in your fridge, and all the sugars that are causing the ripening will gradually start seeping down through the pineapple. So you'll start to remove the ripening from this end where it's already very ripe and start to ripen the other end. So that's a little trick for preserving your pineapple. And all I would do is cut off an amount like that I want to use for my smoothie, and then simply just chop the skin off and then cube it, you know. So again, super easy and fast to use a fresh whole pineapple. And so pineapple is actually one of the amazing anti-inflammatory foods that you probably really wouldn't expect to be anti-inflammatory. If you want, you can cut out the core of the pineapple. And I have a lot of diabetic members who join Homemade, and they're really dumbfounded that they can eat foods like smoothies without elevating blood sugars. And the reason you can do that is because this is a far cry from the health drinks or the healthy smoothies that you can buy commercially, which are basically sugar bombs. They have hidden frozen yogurt, which is really just ice cream. They have sorbet, which is straight up sugar in them. And so these have got whole fruits, they've got greens, they've got other fiber containing goodness like chia seeds and flax seeds and psyllium, which help regulate your blood sugars. And if you add ingredients that are high in protein, such as you can use a protein powder if you want, but you can also use things like yogurt, which is high in protein, white beans, one of my members used, tofu you can use, and obviously nuts and seeds are high in protein. And if you add healthy fats like nuts, seeds, or avocado, or nut butters, you really, really help stabilize your body's blood sugar response. And this has much less sugar than some kind of commercially bought sugary drink or soda drink, or even those so-called healthy drinks. So experiment. I've had members with chronic diabetes who've had amazing blood sugars from these smoothies, and I've also had members with chronic diabetes who did find their sugars were elevated from having the smoothies. In those cases, we give them personalized advice on what they should do to control their blood sugars and bring their blood sugars down, because everybody's different. It's not a cookie cutter program or approach, because it depends on where you're at and your body is at. As you can see, minutes to prepare, looks amazing. And now I'm going to add in some anti-inflammatory superfood compounds. So hang by 1 second, I need to wash my hands again. Okay, so our first anti-inflammatory, so we've already got anti-inflammatory compounds in here. The pineapple and the mango and the spinach are all anti-inflammatory, but now we're going to add in some star players. So I've got the turmeric root here. Turmeric is literally an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. If you can have a little bit of this every single day, you will massively, massively help your body fight inflammation. I find the flavor pretty overpowering, so go easy. Start off with, you know, a pinch or a quarter teaspoon and work your way up. You may grow to love the flavor all the time, or over time, or you may not. So you have to try it and see what you think about it. As you can see, I added about a quarter teaspoon here, and I love the color it gives. Chia seeds are amazing because they contain all the essential amino acids needed by your body, and they're also high in omega-3 and 6 fatty acids, which the omega-3s also help fight inflammation in your body. So that's a great, great, great thing to add to your smoothies. They're best if you can grind them at home in a food processor or coffee grinder to make sure your body absorbs the maximum benefits. These ones are whole and I'm going to use them anyway. Done is better than perfect. Let's go for what we can do at the time, and we'll make it better later if we can or we want to. So that is the ingredients there, and now I wanted to show you one more star player for anti-inflammatory. This is not something you already have at home, and I promised it would be all stuff you already have at home, but I wanted to mention it because if you can find it or get it, bee pollen is pretty incredibly powerful. It's very anti-inflammatory, it's antifungal, it's antibacterial, it's antiviral. This stuff costs more than gold, and I found it in a local shop really inexpensive. So I jumped at the opportunity to buy this. A container like this would probably last my family about a year, and it cost about $20 or $30 from memory. So I jumped at the opportunity. Per serving, it ends up being about 30 cents, which is fine. Again, pretty overpowering flavor, but it will go really well with a tropical smoothie like this. I would probably add about a teaspoon, and there you go. Some people love it. You can use this on top of your smoothie bowls as well. But there you go. It's up to you what you use. And then we've got some shredded coconuts. You can add this straight in your smoothie, or you can use it as a topping or a bit of both. That is now ready. I'm going to add some coconut water. You could use juice, you could use water, anything of your choice really. In general, with liquid, I would say less is better because then you end up with a more thick, creamy smoothie that's like dessert. I'm going to blend this up just behind you there, and I'm going to see where we're up to in the comments. So I am not even taking a second to look at your comments because then we'd be slowing down too much, and there's been about 265 comments since I last checked. So we're going to do Q&A at the end if we have time to stick around, but let's blend this up first, and then we'll go on to the third recipe. So pop it on the blender. Okay, so as you can see, that came out pretty beautiful and creamy, and it's also got a bit of a green color. So if that bothered you, that green color, I just want to show you, you could add a lot more ice or frozen mango to dampen that down a little bit, or you could obviously add a little bit less spinach to start off with. So I'm going to add more mango just to show you variations on what you can do. Let's add a little bit more. And then I just want to show you how you can change that up. So I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but on my end, it definitely looks more yellow. And if you wanted that bright, vivid yellow color, you could just skip the spinach entirely. I want to show you two quick ways that you could serve this up. So where did I put the glass? Here it is. So I love presentation. Presentation matters because you eat with your eyes first. So one of the things I love to do is serve things like smoothies in a beautiful glass like this. And it makes you feel like the queen. It makes you feel like you're having dessert. And then I always love adding toppings. Use toppings that you've already got inside the smoothie. So in this case, I'll use chia seed, and I'll use a little bit of this coconut. And then I might even add, you know, a sprig of, a square of mango on the side or on the top. So I'm going to tilt that up so you can see. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's kind of what that looks like. It looks really nice from where I'm at. You probably can't see it very well. You could also obviously serve it in a tall glass. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is these Ziploc bags. If you're in a hurry and you want healthy meals on the go, Ziploc bags are your best friend. You basically want to make 5 or 10 of these smoothies of your choice. You can mix up the ingredients. We have a whole module on this in the Life Changing Cooking program. And you add all the ingredients for a smoothie in a bag like this minus the liquid. And then in the morning when you're ready to go, or you want a healthy meal or a healthy snack or a decadent dessert, you pop the whole thing in your blender, Add the liquid of your choice. I'm using coconut water today. You can use milk, you can use almond milk, you can use juice or water. It doesn't really matter. And then you blend it up, and it literally is a healthy meal or snack or breakfast ready in 15, 20 seconds of time that it takes to blend. So that's a little pro tip that a lot of our members definitely appreciate. Okay, so that is number 2 complete. And now, lastly and finally, last but not least, as the saying goes, let us do the chocolate chia seed pudding. So, put this down the other way. Okay, I'm very, very, very excited about this one, especially eating it tonight. So this is an example of where you'd probably want to change over your chopping board. I'm just going to give it a wipe because honestly, it's just mango and pineapple, which won't be bad flavors with the chocolate chia pudding. And there's not a whole lot of chopping required for this recipe anyway, mainly measuring and stirring. So, okay, chocolate chia seed pudding. So, as I've mentioned, chia seeds are a fantastic source of antioxidants, fiber, iron, calcium, and those very beneficial omega-3 fatty acids, which most of us are short on, which your body cannot produce, and which is one of the best things to fight inflammation in your body. Other ingredients in this star player dessert are walnuts and almonds, which also help fight inflammation in the body. The walnuts, as you know, contain omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. Again, and then we've also got cacao and cacao nibs. So how good is it? You can eat a chocolate flavored dessert that's actually good for you. So remember, probably the number one biggest thing that causes inflammation is sugar. But when you eat a dessert like this, it actually helps fight inflammation. So it's a choice between something that harms your body and something that literally benefits your body. And so the cacao is a very good source of antioxidants and also a very old known source of beneficial inflammation fighting compounds. So that is our star players. Let us make this. It's so simple, it's so fast, and it's very delicious. So let's see what the ratios are. So the thing with cacao is you want to get the raw cacao powder. It's not the same as cocoa because cocoa is being heat treated and that destroys a lot of the antioxidants and inflammation fighting substances. So you want to get cacao powder, spelled C-A-C-A-O, and that's the stuff that really fights the inflammation. So I'm using coconut milk. Coconut milk is one of the few things that I tend to buy low fat. You don't have to, but coconut milk, when you're using 3 cups, it is actually very, very high in saturated fat. And even though research these days suggests that the type of saturated fats in coconut is good for you, your cholesterol are not bad for it. It's one of those things that it's still a lot of saturated fat. So I tend to err on the side of caution and reduce my use of ingredients that are kind of up in the air, whether they're really good for you or not. So basically we're going to measure out the coconut milk. We've got 2 cups here and the recipe calls for 3 cups. So I'm going to show you how easily you can improvise. I'm going to actually add 1 cup of coconut water. And you can do this actually most of the time when I make this recipe at home. I use a combination of almond milk and water. So you really don't need the coconut milk, but it does give an amazing flavor to it. And so I'm going to pour that in our mixing bowl here. And then we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of cacao powder. Whoops. Let's see. I'm actually using measuring cups for this recipe because some things do need a little bit of precision, and this is kind of one of them. If you get the ratios of the chia seeds wrong, it kind of doesn't work. So I'm going to actually measure for once. So I'm not dead opposed to measuring. I'm just opposed to unnecessary measuring. Okay, so let's get the cacao powder. We're going to go with 1/3 of a cup, and it says to sift it in, but you don't have to. You can if you want to. I'm just going to loosely measure this and then pop it in. And look, if some falls in, it's fine because it's all going to get mixed in anyway. So that's about 1/3 of a cup of this raw cacao powder. That's going in. And then we're meant to stir to combine this, but I'm actually going to just keep going and add everything, and then I'm going to stir it at the end. So next I'm going to add the maple syrup. Maple syrup, people ask about this. It's still sugar, but it has some beneficial minerals. And if you're going to eat sugar, it's a more beneficial way to eat sugar than refined white sugar, which has no beneficial minerals. The thing is, as you reset your palate and you need less sweetness, a little bit of coconut sugar, maple syrup, or honey, it's not going to throw you off course. It's not bad. There's nothing bad about sugar. What's bad is the huge amounts of refined white sugar that we eat in modern society. So a little bit of things like maple syrup, honey, coconut sugar, even brown sugar, it doesn't do you any harm and it's okay. So we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of this maple syrup. So pour that in. And then we're going to add a little bit of vanilla extract. People often ask me if vanilla essence and vanilla extract are the same thing. No, they're not. Vanilla essence is a fake man-produced version of vanilla extract, and vanilla extract actually has some beneficial health properties. So again, if you can get vanilla extract as opposed to essence, it is better. I'm in love with this product right now. It's a vanilla bean paste. I don't know what the brand is, but I bought it the other day and I absolutely love it. It smells like heaven, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon of this. So look at that, it's like a proper vanilla paste. I've been really enjoying this product. I use it rarely. Again, it's one of those treats I buy for myself and then it lasts 6 months. Next, we've got almond butter. So this is a classic example of a healthy fat that you can add into a dessert that actually helps your heart. It helps you feel satiated and full because fat triggers our body's satiety receptors. But at the same time, it's good fat. And so instead of giving you cravings for more refined, processed junk foods later, it actually helps you feel satiated and want more of the good stuff. So almond butter is a good fat, but you want to eat it in moderation if you're just starting out, because it's still high in calories and it's still high in fat. So there you go. We're using 2 tablespoons in this recipe. So that's been added. That was 1 big tablespoon, which would equate to 2 cooking tablespoons. And then 1/2 cup of chia seeds. So again, this is the thing I'm going to really measure out because it does matter if you get this right. So measuring this. You know what? I'm actually going to stir this first because there's a lot going on in here and I want to make sure that it's combined. And this is going to require, for sure, a little bit of elbow grease to properly combine it. You could even throw this whole thing in a blender. That's probably what I would do if I was actually making this recipe at home, which, by the way, I make chia pudding probably once a week or once every 2 weeks because it's a fantastic breakfast. I find if you're bored of having oatmeal or smoothies and you still want something indulgent and creamy, I find chia pudding is just such a fantastic start to the day. I'll normally top it with some berries, nuts, dried fruit, yogurt, and my whole family enjoys it. So very, very, very easy, fast to make, no cooking. I make a batch and then everyone eats it for 3 or 4 days. So I'm a huge fan of chia pudding and I really use it regularly in my life. And so then roughly I'm going to measure out 1/2 cup of chia seeds. The amazing thing about chia seeds is that they expand in your stomach a lot. And so that's because they're really high in fiber, and that fiber is what helps you feel really full when you eat them. So this is really watery right now. Let me get this stuff out of the way. This is really watery right now, but as it sets, it's going to thicken and turn into a pudding-like texture. So that's that there. That's literally the preparation finished. And all the other ingredients, you can stir some in or you can just use them as toppings. I'm going to tip this up and show you. I just want to drink that. I'm actually really hungry now. So I'm just going to hold it this way. It's kind of hard to see, but that's what it is. And now I'm going to show you one quick thing, which is I told you earlier how a chef knife is pretty much your best friend in the kitchen. I'm going to show you how I would chop something like nuts, still just using a chef knife. So if I was to make a topping for this dessert, or if I was to stir in some nuts as an add-in. You do the claw grip again, you bunch up your nuts in a pile like this, and you literally are rocking the knife on its front here, and you're just going up and down. So this is what I see people doing. That's not the correct chopping technique. It's slow and ineffective. It's going to hurt your wrists. You want to hold the knife like this, hold it at the base and here. Then you want to make the claw grip, and you're just rocking your knife up and down through these nuts, okay? So that's how you can really quickly and easily chop things like nuts without hurting your hand or finger joints. Actually, funny story, a friend of mine from Australia sent me a photo of her 4 or 5-year-old chopping some lettuce. And the first thing I thought when I looked at the photo was that the little girl was using incorrect cutting technique and holding the knife wrong. And I hesitated for a while. I didn't know if my friend would appreciate the feedback. So in the end, I didn't say anything, but that was the first thing I thought. I was going, she's not holding the knife right. So it really makes a difference to how fast and easy and enjoyable your cooking experience is if you do these little things right. Use the right knife, use a sharp knife, and there you go. Look how beautiful and smooth and consistent that has been chopped, and it took me about 15-20 seconds. So that's done. Now I also wanted to quickly show you how to do the same thing. Oh, you know, I'm not going to demo this because this is going to stain my hands and stain the chopping board. I really wanted to show you how to get seeds out of a pomegranate. Pomegranates are very, very anti-inflammatory and very high in antioxidants as well. That's what gives them that vivid purple color. All I would do if I was preparing this on my own, I always do it last when I'm cooking because it makes a huge mess. But basically, claw grip, cut a section down, and then all you got to do is pick it up and you literally pop it like this, and you squeeze the seeds out into whatever you're doing, or pull them out with your hand. They are luscious, they are juicy, they are so delicious. But I would use something like pomegranate to top a dessert like this. Again, think the flavor balancing principles. How do you make healthy food taste good? You use the flavor balancing principles used by junk food manufacturers and chefs to make unhealthy food taste good. Use those same principles to make healthy food taste good. So we have a module on that also in Life Changing Cooking Program to all my members. Check it out, and all the newbies. That's one of the things in the course. So chop this, pop the seeds out, and you top it, and you add that color spark, you add the brightness. All right, I'm just going to do it. I'm getting too excited about talking about it. This is going to make a mess though. But I want to show you it's no big deal at the same time. I don't want to put you off ever doing it because I went on about it so much. So that's all it is. That's a fresh pomegranate, and all I would do is you kind of pop it. So actually I might even slice this in half. So there it is, a little piece, and you just pop it like this, pop the little bits out. See how they're coming out really easily there? So there you go, and it's gorgeous. It's like the most incredible paradise fruit. Look at these little seeds. They are so blissful and bursting with color and goodness. They're high in vitamin C. They are just so good for you. So I love having pomegranates with chia seed pudding. I have them on smoothie bowls. I have them with oatmeal. I adore them. They're actually not in season now, so it's a little hard to find. But there you go. You can still get them if you want, and that is what they look like. And it costs a fortune to buy the seeds on their own, and look how easy it was to get that out. It took 5 seconds. So I dropped one on the floor. It's probably going to stain my entire house. So they stain though. Everything gets stained. So I always do this last, and then I go and wash my hands and chopping board right away. I'm going to do that right now. Now I want to demo a finished product of this amazing chia seed pudding we just made. So I want to show you what it looks like and also how amazing and delicious it looks. So here is two we prepared earlier to show you, and I'm going to tilt that up. That's got some of the toppings on it. How amazing does that look? That's got the almonds and the walnuts, and I'm actually going to add some of these seeds now just to show you what I would do with it normally. So that is topped, and now I'm going to bring it over to the camera and give you a peek. Let's see. How good does that look? It's like chocolate mousse, chocolate ice cream. It's amazing. It's creamy. It's thick. I would eat that with a spoon. It's all set. It is amazing. So that is the 3 dishes for today, all complete. And now I want to open it up for live Q&A. I know we've been going for an hour and a half, but I hope this has been useful and valuable for you. I'm going to do a very quick cleanup, clear the deck, and then prepare for questions. If you need to go, please go. The replay will be available. If you want to hang around for questions, I'll open it up now and start looking at the questions. But I need a clean workspace to function, so I'm going to do a very, very, very quick cleanup and just set aside all the things. And again, as you can see, I did 0 cleanup after the smoothie, and this is the entire cleanup for the chia pudding. It is not much. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to clean up after this entire thing. So we've just cooked literally several days of food in 1 hour, and the cleanup would take 3 minutes to do. So it's pretty easy and low maintenance cooking. I'm going to put my chopping mix in here, and I'm going to go and rinse this chopping board before it stains everything. This pomegranate, to be honest, it's not the most staining I've seen. It's pretty good. So pop this in here. So get your questions ready. I'm going to zoom through and try and take a look. There's a lot coming in. There's about 200 right now, so I may not get to them all, but I'll do what I can. So pop this over here. Okay, and I'm going to set out all the delights we just made on the table so you can admire your cooking, which you will all be doing, I'm sure, very, very soon if you didn't already cook with me. I'm going to put it all out. Let's see. So there's our chia pudding, there's our mango smoothie, and there is our salmon and our salsa. Yummy! This is going to be my dinner soon. I'm going to tilt up the salmon so you can see it better. I wish I could tilt up the pudding so you could see those better. But anyway, this doesn't do it justice. I need like a thing to tilt it so you can see the top. But it does look amazing, Charlene, and so lovely to have you here. All right, so let's go to questions. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. And I think we've succeeded. We've done all the 3 recipes. There was no catastrophes. The oven is off. I actually took the fire alarm outside before I started this because the searing creates a lot of smoke and I was worried about it setting off the fire alarm. We didn't set the fire alarm off. It has happened before. So definitely a success. And now let me see what questions you've got coming in. Okay. Thank you so much, Mary and Debbie. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Daphne, Carol. Can't wait to try the chia pudding. Looks delicious. Mary says, great presentation. Margaret says, this was great, Anna. Thank you. Kathy says, thank you for making it look so easy. It is so easy. And this is like such a core part of my message to you all, that eating healthy, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be about restrictions. And it's not about quitting carbs or gluten or counting calories or going keto or paleo. It's just about making really good, fresh food accessible and easy. So I'm so glad you found it to be like that. Cindy says, can't wait to try these. Nice job. Looks awesome. Gail says, relocating from the north to the south affect inflammation. Ever since I moved to Florida, I've had inflammation. Could it be my body's not used to the heat and humidity? You know, I haven't heard that heat and humidity causes inflammation in the body. Have there been other changes in your lifestyle or your diet? I think it was Gail who posted the question that could explain it. It could also be if your body is already struggling with some kind of autoimmune condition or inflammation, that maybe the heat and humidity is putting strain on your personal system. I can't rule that out because everyone is biologically unique, but I definitely haven't heard of that correlation before. It's going so fast in the comments, so if I skip some of your comments, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because they're disappearing before I can read them all out. So Ginny says, you make this all look so easy, makes me think I could actually do it. Ginny, I know you can. You've already done so much of this before. Pamela says, was that bee pollen used? Yeah, I did use bee pollen today only because it's my current indulgent, decadent product that I'm using. I always encourage my members, as you dive into this healthy lifestyle, you will save so much money on buying snacks and fast food, and save money on medications, and save money on eating out, and save money on actually cutting down on meat consumption, that I encourage you to buy products that excite you, that are healthy for you. Like I have this tea up here. This is my This is my favorite brand of tea I've ever found. It's a matcha green tea, and they do a turmeric ginger one as well. It's expensive, but it lasts me for months, and I love having fancy gourmet tea that has amazing health properties. Both are very anti-inflammatory in my house. So, you know, if you spend a little extra on products like good quality olive oil and things like that that make you feel good and make you excited about cooking healthy, then I think it's a massive win. Kathleen says, everything looks delicious. Sandy says, so colorful. Yeah, so Gail says, great question. Would you suggest turmeric pills for those who don't like the taste of turmeric? Absolutely, try them. I'm sure that they just simply put them in a capsule and you should get most of the health benefits once it dissolves in your system. So definitely give it a try. The other suggestion is you can actually buy turmeric root fresh. And you can blend that into smoothies, and I find the flavor is less forceful than the powdered turmeric. You can't get it everywhere, but I've seen it in specialty health food stores before. I don't even bother peeling that. I just slice it thin, throw it fresh into smoothies. Another thing you could try, Gail, if you don't like the flavor of turmeric, is just focus on other anti-inflammatory compounds like ginger. If I had had the ginger here, all I would have done is you basically roughly chop the brown outside kind of bark off, and then you use the middle. You can throw a chunk into your smoothie or slice it thin and then throw it in the smoothie, blend it in, and you get a lot of anti-inflammatory benefits as well as benefits to your gut. It's anti-nausea. So that's another great alternative to turmeric if you don't like it. Debbie says, thank you for the awesome presentation. You're so welcome, Debbie. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Linda says, great time, thank you. Cynthia says, eat for satisfaction, now measuring your food. So Cynthia, if you mean you would like to eat for satisfaction and you like the concept, but you also need to measure food as in portion control, my message to you, this is the core of our program and how our members get such amazing results, is measuring is a flawed system. It's propagated by the dieting and weight loss industry and it doesn't work. How many years have you been trying to count calories or count carbohydrates or control your sugar or weigh yourself, and it doesn't work because it's all about restricting and depriving your body. When you actually nourish your body with these foods, with the right foods, you can eat as much as you want until you're satisfied, and your body will naturally lose weight because you will reset your body's hunger and satiety hormones. So your body will naturally crave after a while the right amounts of food so that you achieve your ideal weight without dieting or going hungry. Now, it is more complicated than that. Yes, there is a little bit more to it, and that's why we have a whole program around it. But that is the core and the essence of the core message that I really try and share with you ladies is when you eat the right food, you never have to go hungry. You don't have to worry about counting and measuring your food because that is the old dieting mentality that has never served us and never given us weight loss results that actually last. So there is a different way. So learn more if you're interested because there is a different way and it works and it's more fun and more pleasurable and actually gives you lasting results. Linda says, I slack off, Anna, and you always bring me back. Yay, Linda. I'm so happy to hear it. I'm proud of you for continuing to show up. And, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be a tiny bit better than what you were yesterday. So stick with it. Patricia says, everything looks wonderful. Can't wait to try these. Anne-Marie, yay, says, great demo, Anna. Everything looks delicious. Okay, Veronica, good question. How much do you consider a serving for the pudding? And then it disappeared. I didn't get to read the rest of it. So this is a great follow-on question to what I was just saying about eating for satisfaction and not having to measure and control. That doesn't mean you can eat anything you want as much as you want because a lot of the time when we eat, we're not eating what our body tells us to eat. We're eating with our minds. We're eating cravings. We're eating for emotional reasons or stress. And so if you were to sit down and go, Anna said this is healthy, I can eat as much as I want until I don't want to eat anymore. Well, it's still a high-calorie dessert. It's a dessert, and it's got calories, and it's got fat in it, and it's still got sugar in it, albeit it's got a lot of healthy fat, and it's got a lot of fiber, and it's got a lot of protein, and it's got a lot of antioxidants. It's going to actually dampen your blood sugar levels. It's going to help control them, and the healthy fats and protein is going to give you a feeling of satiety instead of just making you hungry for the next quick carb pick-me-up in 30 minutes. So it's already on a different playing field. It's completely different to having an ice cream or a candy bar. The effect it has on your body is completely different. So for the same calories, you're getting a lot of benefits and it's not going to make you crave junk later. Now, however, back to the question, it doesn't mean you can eat as much as you want anytime, at least when you're getting started. Because when you're getting started, your body's still figuring everything out. You've spent 10, 20, 30, 40 years dieting. As women, most of us have been dieting since we're 7 years old, 10 years old, and we've totally lost the ability to connect with our bodies and listen to our bodies to tell us what to eat and how much to eat. And so if you're in that boat, you're setting yourself up to fail unless you first reset your body. So it's a process. What we teach in our program is a 3-part system. So the first part is cook your own food so you know what goes into it. That's why you're eating this instead of an ice cream, because you know what goes into it. You know that goodness went into it. Number 2 of the system is eat whole natural foods close to their natural state, because when you do that with these foods and these ingredients, you're fixing your body. You're resetting your body's natural hunger and satiety mechanism. And then the third part of the system, and this goes to the core of your question, is learning how to listen to your body. And so listening to your body is, your body will tell you when it's hungry. It will tell you what it needs to eat to restore health. And it will also tell you when you're full and satisfied. So after you've been practicing this philosophy and this system for many years, like I have, it actually becomes very hard to overeat. And if I make the wrong choices, my body will very quickly and rapidly put me back on track, because I will feel bad and it will tell me what to eat to feel good again. So it becomes hard to overeat, which means measuring becomes a thing of the past. Like, I don't really need to think about how much I serve myself anymore, because I get full, and when I get full, it feels uncomfortable and unpleasant to eat too much. Whereas in the past, I could eat bags of chips, boxes of cookies, ice cream, and the only control on what I ate was my brain telling me I was bad and feeling guilty about what I was eating and counting the calories and trying to work out how much I'd have to run to burn that off. It was a nightmare. It was a miserable life where I was constantly obsessed with food. But when you eat this way for years, you don't need to think about it anymore, because your body just tells you how much to eat and what to eat. And that transformation starts happening weeks or days or a month after you start eating this way. So the transformation will happen. It can happen to you at any age, at any life stage, no matter if you want to lose 20 pounds or 300 pounds, it will happen. In the meantime, though, portion control is a thing. And so my message with something like this is, we did write the serving sizes for things like desserts onto the recipes. Follow those serving sizes. Those are approximately what we consider to be a serving. With the proviso that I always say to my members, don't go hungry. If you eat this one serving size of this for breakfast and you still feel hungry, or you get hungry 1 hour later, with this program or philosophy, you never have to go hungry. I want you to eat again. Find the most nourishing way to satisfy your hunger. So don't be controlled by serving sizes anymore. Be mindful of what we suggest, but if you're hungry, then eat more. And if you're starting out with like 100 pounds to lose, then you might need 4 servings of this to be satisfied for a breakfast. And that's okay, because that's where your body is to start off with. And I promise you'll be better off than if you have an English muffin at McDonald's and then you get hungry an hour later and want a sugary soda to pick you up with energy. So follow the system, it will work. And that's a great question. I hope I answered it. And I guess the reason I give all the backstory is because I think you need to know that when it comes to portion control and serving sizes, that's part of an old system that you can be freed from, and there's a process to be freed from it. And in the meantime, that was my recommendations. Follow the serving sizes, but listen to your body and your hunger, and eat more if you need to of the right foods to satisfy your hunger. So I hope that answers your question. Margie says, now Becky said brand names are useful if you can. I didn't know which brand I was talking about, so ask the question again. And thank you, Margie. I am very enthusiastic. Oh, thank you so much. And it's because it's really hot in here with the lighting and the oven and everything, so I'm definitely a bit flushed, but I'm feeling so much better. Thank you very much. I will take a good rest. Gail says, I've been using ginger and cinnamon. Perfect. Well, that's fantastic. And cinnamon also helps control your blood sugar, so that's a wonderful combo. Charlene says, Anna, you've given us such a wonderful information in a short period of time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you made it and you found it useful. Oksana says, okay, I was thinking of trying keto, but no fruit is allowed. I was amazed that you said mango regulates insulin. Oksana, I'm so glad you raised this because one of the biggest myths going around is that fruit is bad for diabetics. Fruit has so many beneficial health properties. It's high in antioxidants, phytochemicals, polyphenols. It's high in fiber, which helps regulate your blood sugars. It's got anti-cancer compounds. This approach of trying to get rid of entire food groups is so ludicrous. And if you look at population studies and epidemiological studies that have looked at human populations across many long periods of time, there is no evidence that things like not eating fruit is good for you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The biggest one thing that most nutritionists and doctors and researchers can agree on is that the healthiest diet to give us a long, healthy life free of pain and free of cancer and free of chronic conditions is basically what's currently called a plant-based diet, which luckily doesn't mean quitting meat, but it does mean eating a lot of plants, and that includes grains, it includes healthy carbohydrates, it includes things like fruit. So that is the key to a long, healthy life. Now, if you're diabetic, it's because your body has already been subjected to a lot of bad eating habits, dieting, the foods that cause chronic inflammation, the fried foods, the sugary foods, the processed foods, and that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That's just been your life story. We all live in an environment where we're constantly subjected to that food. I'm sure you're an amazing person. The point is that then being told to go keto and quit fruit and quit grains is not the answer. It's not the pathway to health, and it's not sustainable. And so keep looking around. Use your common sense. Think about, what have humans been eating in Asia for millions or thousands of years? What have they eaten in Africa? What have they eaten in Europe? What do the longest living humans in Osaka, Japan eat? They eat, what they eat is they eat rice, and they eat fruits, and they eat vegetables, and they eat root vegetables. And so these new fad diets telling us to quit these foods, it doesn't make sense. And there are not plagues of diabetes in those continents and those countries. So diabetes is not caused by eating fruit. It's caused by this scourge of fast food and refined and sugary and processed foods that we're all fed and addicted to. And quitting healthy whole food groups is not the answer. So I hope that got you thinking. And the thing with fruit is there's a big difference between drinking orange juice and eating an orange. So the part 2 of our system is those whole natural foods as close as possible to their natural state. And if you are very diabetic, if you have blood sugar numbers that are very high, A1C that's very high, and you're currently taking medication and you're not very active, then as I say, you do need personalized advice. It might be that this smoothie is amazing for your blood sugars, and it might be that it still raises it. If it still raises it, we give you personalized advice to tailor it to your situation. But keep your wits about you and keep experimenting and keep learning, because that's the key to getting healthy here. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Robin. She says, very informative. I'm going to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to read a couple more comments, questions. Thank you, Noni. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. She says, wonderful presentation. Baby steps, absolutely, Pamela. Thank you so much, Betty. I am feeling much better. Darlene says, yes, so Darlene's talking about eating nutrients to nourish your body and not filling the body with the junk that causes the inflammation. Absolutely, great point. Rochelle, so nice to see you here. You'll probably need to catch the replay. Yes, Patricia says your body is in charge if you just listen to it. Thank you so much, Becky. I'm glad you learned some amazing tips. Okay. Betty, if you have questions, email member@homemade-cooking.com. The recipes, Bonnie, are going to be emailed to you. Well done, ladies, for being here. You will get all the recipes from today plus one bonus recipe. That is our anti-inflammatory cooking demo recipes. You can make this all at home. You can see how easy and fast it is. And let's see if there's one more question. One more question. Veronica says, thanks for the great explanation. Makes sense. Fantastic. Oh, Liz, the tea brand she wanted. Did I put it away? I put it away because I didn't want anyone to think I'm promoting brands, because I don't do any brand endorsements or sponsorships. This is just actually what I have at home. But it's Rishi, R-I-S-H-I. I think it's the most incredible tea. I have about 12 different teas at home at any one time. I love different types of herbal tea. That's one of the ways I treat myself. That's very easy and fast and cheap, actually, and healthy. Thank you, Sandy. You're so sweet. Thank you for your kind comments. She said, take care of yourself. You put so much into this presentation and the enthusiasm is beautiful. Thank you. Well, it comes from my heart, as you can tell. Let's see if there's one last question before we wrap up. Gloria says, love this program. I'm in Homemade for Life. We love you being here and we love getting to know all our members so personally, as you all know we do. Sally, don't worry if you didn't make it on time. We're going to be posting the replay very shortly. Sharon says, super presentation. Take care of yourself. Janice, welcome. You've just joined us. Frederica said, you did an amazing job moving quickly to make the dishes. Everything you said makes sense. I've done a lot of research on inflammation since being diagnosed with lupus. I feel I can do it now, reverse the illness using food. Yes, if that is your takeaway, Frederica, then I have done my job properly today, because things like lupus, which are autoimmune conditions that can be so demoralizing and so frustrating to deal with, it's hard because there's not good treatments for these immune conditions and doctors don't know a lot about them. And if you just do these things, they're simple and they're fast and easy. And so many of my members have reported improvements with things like rare skin conditions, things like fibromyalgia, things like joint pain, inflammation, tiredness, achy bones and muscles, that their doctors couldn't help them with. So I really think this is the pathway. Do it, stick to it, and you will get results. And then experiment and see what's right for you. Like, I get questions sometimes about nightshade vegetables. Can I eat nightshade? Well, most people can. They're really, really good for most people, but you may not. You need to experiment, but that starts with principle 3 that we teach in our program, which is listening to your body. So first we get the baseline right, and then you start to improvise with those tiny bio-individual ingredients, supplements, ratios, things to get it just perfect for your body's needs. So beautiful takeaway. Thanks for the feedback, and I really wish you well with that. Okay, let us see. There are 400 more comments. I'm not going to read them all out. I'm not saying another question. So to wrap up, the 2 things that I want you to remember leaving today is that inflammation is caused by certain things. And some of them include sugar, refined white carbs, pastries, fried foods, you know, all the foods you already know you shouldn't eat too much of. You don't need to quit them. Just try and cut them down and then eat more of this stuff, more leafy greens, more plants, more fruits, more nuts and seeds, more whole grains, more fatty fish, olive oil, avocado oil, and I know there's one I'm forgetting. But anyway, things like, it was whole grains and beans that are high in fiber. So those are the things that reverse inflammation in your body. And then activities like meditation, yoga, exercise, they all help as well. So the power is in your hands to reverse inflammation and to reverse at least the symptoms of some of these autoimmune conditions, so you can feel relief and feel better living with them. Now, for my life-changing cooking program and success members, I will be seeing you on Friday for your next Success Mastermind, where actually me and your favorite homemade nutrition and dietitian coaches are going to be sharing our favorite products, nourishing and healing products that we use at home on ourselves and our families to keep up our busy, healthy lifestyles. And for all the newbies here, welcome, welcome. We love getting to know you. So be active in the community Facebook group. And tomorrow and Friday, I'm hosting the workshops for you, my signature workshop, Cooking for Perfect Weight and Blood Numbers. That's where I'm going to go into more detail, peeling back the curtains on the exact system that my members have used to lose tens of thousands of pounds, reverse diabetes, high blood sugar, pressure, and cholesterol, and get off medications without dieting, eating what they want, when they want. So make sure you register. There will not be a replay of that workshop. So you need to show up to come. And as soon as you register, there's actually a bonus video, a bonus surprise 6-minute video for you on the registration page. So I'm going to share the link right now in the comments for any of the new ladies here who want to check out the workshop. That workshop will also actually tell you about the program, what it entails, and how you can actually register and join the program before we open early bird registration in 2 weeks for our summer program. So you can join early, you get a discounted a huge discount to the program, and you get lots of extra amazing bonuses included. So that's happening Thursday and Friday. Thank you, ladies, for being here. I appreciate you so much. I'm so proud of you for being here. I'm excited for what you can do, and I will see you in the members group and the Facebook community group, and we'll be checking these comments and responding in the coming days. So if your question wasn't answered, I hope me or someone on my team will get to it very soon. Otherwise, post it again in the community. Mwah! Have a wonderful day, and thank you again for being here. Bye now.